Howdy, 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 everybody. Good heavens. So, I am trying to fix all of these stupid things that I've done now. Booming moon. So, anyway, I managed to last night. All of a sudden, everybody is so into talking to me. I finally, last night, installed Adobe. I broke down and installed Adobe just so I can do this one thing. So that's what I'm doing, is this one thing, because the problem is they're all in indexed color. They're not in RGB color. This is really hard for me to do because there's a lot of steps, and this is the reason why I don't like to do this very often. So I can't talk at the same time. So you have to just give me a second here because it's all the same steps. You can see that the quality of this is always kind of a little weird until I switch it to RGB. Here, I'll give us some music too. Give us some tunes. What does our Zoom? Local video presentations. Interesting. We'll down tempo it. And that's all I need Photoshop for. We fixed literally that one problem. Now we'll do the rest of this in Clip Studio Paint because I'm protesting. Not like this works a whole lot to protest, but okay. Oh, that's the wrong monitor. You've gotten way confused. All right. go. So yeah, last night was kind of frustrating. I'm back to, I don't know, I'm back to being grumpy and annoyed about this whole thing. The one of the things that's bothering me a lot is that we've got. I'm just trying to open all of these things. I can talk a lot while doing my work, but I can't while doing this thing. You know what? Properties. Why are we? I hate this. Every time, it's always the same thing. There's no extensions. I've got to turn on the extensions thing again. So of course I can't tell. I can't tell if there's a turn on extensions. I don't know. Add extensions. There we go. Apply. Okay. Perfect. That took no time, actually. Really, it's not that hard to Google something, so I'll Google it. It's no problem. Anyway, okay, extensions. Now we've got the extensions up. That helps us a lot. So now I can say new folder, old GIFs. Since it's not going to be able to ever open these GIFs ever again. All right. Most of this stuff should be pretty easy. Like we can open this one, and this is pretty simple. We'll just use the same colors that we did for in fact, we'll do all of this the same way. We'll do what we did not do before, which we should have done. We've done all of the stock stuff and put it in a stock textures folder. Now, for our guys, we very rarely use this at all. This is an eye reflection thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a new layer on this. I'm going to call it black. because it's what we want on this one. And we'll drop it down just a hair. I'll take white here and we'll get in on the brush. And this is going to be right about here is the mid part of the eye and the pupil. All right, so we're going to do about like this. It's really not that critical we do this at all, but I like to at least make it feel like we did something here. Otherwise, we load this and then we're like, why do we load this? So there's that. Also, you can kind of do something like this to just give some texture to the eyeball, which won't matter much, but at least make it look a little interesting. And the reason I'll do this is just to remind myself to do this when I do the actual pictures. If I ever do these in color, they'll be like that. And so we'll bring this back up to 100%. And all this did was just give me just a little bit of a highlight here. So we'll do that. We'll say save as, and we'll move it up from the maquettes to the maquettes directory here. And we'll put it in the textures directory and then characters directory. And what we'll call this is default male here. Right? Eye reflection. Default male. It's not personalized per character, so it won't really matter much. So the lashes, then, we very rarely ever use, ever, for any reason. So what I will do to ensure that they stay absolutely black is do that, and then they just will never render. So we'll save as, do the same thing. We'll go into textures, and characters, and say, and the only reason I'm keeping this at all is because once it's in, black is in all maps, black is transparent and white is not transparent. And anything that's somewhere in between is semi-transparent. So if you do 50% gray, it'll be 50% transparent. So that's how that kind of works. With this, I'm actually going to go on ahead and open the female mouth one because I think that the male mouth inside is probably the same critter. And so I'll just hit all and copy and paste, and I'll bet you nothing's different. Everything seems to line up pretty much straight up. It's not a real big deal. And yeah, I mean, even the teeth are relatively lined up. So yeah, no big deal. So I'll save as. And that's just so that whenever we make the base male, it'll be straight up. There won't be any problems with it. So we'll have we just doing that kind of make things easier because it's not going to make any difference. Now for the hard stuff. Okay, we're going to need to get the existent dress uniform, line uniform, things like that, and we're going to bring that straight in here so that they're in and up and running, and then we're going to have to go adjust the male uniform for this. So this gets a little bit more complicated. We're going to have to go through a couple of iterations on this. So maquettes, as templates, seam guides. We need Did I? Right. I guess that doesn't surprise me. There we go. You and you. And these give me seam guides on the male uniform and the limbs. Okay, so take this service uniform. That's Chang, because she's straightened out correctly. And we're already going to see right away that we're off, right? Probably not by a whole lot, but we're off by a little. So we're going to have to go through and reorganize this to make sure it's straightened out correctly so that it doesn't go wonky on us. It's already wonky. So there's that. One of the things we can do is back up to here and pull up the female guide. And it's a different shape, but it will tell us a little bit more about what's going on for this guy, for the Chang's outfit. What I probably ought to do is put this on top, take this and do something like multiply, right? So that it's of a different color. And also probably should desaturate it because the color codes are important. So we're going to take the hue saturation, we're going to desaturate it. And that means that all of its color codes turn just black and white, right? And then that way we don't have to worry about them becoming a problem, right? So we're going to then merge these two together to make this, and then we're going to look at it in the context of here. Because this will help us quickly go through and process this so we don't have to worry about fighting with it. Because we don't want to spend too much time on this. We don't want to spend forever on it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this. We're just going to look at, well, first of all, we don't need you. I'm going to take a red line. We're going to do this. We're going to add a new layer. We're going to call this red line. Redlining in art terms, redlining is a correction. So blue lining is your underdrawing, and redlining is corrections. So we look here. This needs to come in at arm 9, so it's going to come in here, right? That's where we want it to go in. When it exits on this one right here. So this is this line right there, right? We want it to be on the same line, right? Moving upward, this one exits right here, right? Because see those two? The colors are the same on these. The color codes mean the same thing, right? So we've got 1, 2, and then this is this neck, right? So here we've got the seam is right here. Do that one. So that's where our seam is. And then looking at the girls one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puts us here, right there, right before this one. So that's where this comes across like so. It's interesting. That's not the way I would have thought it was happening, but that's all right. Okay. Moving up the neck, you can see the yellow there, and then the purple, and then this is this section right right here, only that. Going in on that one. So they use the same mesh for male and female on this with some slight changes. So we can pretty much operate pretty good on that. It will be similar, right? So if we look, we have this four square right there. Then we go up 3 and we have the triangle. So the triangle comes in here, goes in 2, goes out, goes up 2 here, right? So whatever is happening with the neck has to happen 1 up here to here and here. Now, just to make sure that things are clear, that's what we want, right? So I'm going to double check this one right here because I don't feel like that's right. You know, just looking at where it came out here, this is higher than here, and I feel like it really should be here, right? So looking at here, this comes out there because I feel like this is coming out the wrong spot too. But if we look at here, we've got 1, 2, 3, and then 4, right? 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Yep, it's up on the 5, so that's here. That's why. I'm glad I double checked that. Okay. So now coming up over here, the entry on the other side is a little different. So it's 1, 2, and then 2. So 1, 2, and then 2. This is the entry here, right? Because it's just below that yellow dot. And the neck then is 1, 2, and then just below 2 on this one. Right, puts it here. Right, so it's got these nice guides that tell me all kinds of important information, like right neck 5, right, and right neck 7. So we're going to check to make sure that we're exiting and entering on this side. Oh, oops. Over here. Below 5 and just below 7. So that's perfect. That means the blue is entering the correct spot and the neck is entering the correct spot. All right. Now, it looks like it's just below C5 right there. Let's double check that. So coming in here, it's at C5. And that goes down to about, I don't know, something about here-ish. Right? Perfect. And this I don't need to do that yet. We're just redlining. Okay. It's just here to here. That's the neck. There to there. Would the seam be 2 in? I think so. And this one's here to here. All right, we'll zoom in. So we'll make sure this is straight. There. And this one is straight to there. This one's going to be a little tougher. We've got to kind of make the chest pieces match. So they come in on here. They're going to come in at the bottom of right arm 4, right here. And on the other side, left arm 4, which is right here. Weirdly leveled. That's all right. Little left arm 9 right there. All right. So we don't need this crossbar going this way. We don't need to worry about that one. We do need to worry about the one going straight down though, because that's a seam on the uniform. There we go. And we'll just mark in those will be too high. Just in case they ever, and I ever need to use a Captain the Cat. I'll make sure that's in that red line so that I just know roughly where it is. All right, here's where things get kind of crunchy. Because we're between red thigh 6 and red thigh 7, pocket, and red thigh 8. The other side of that. Then 5 for the exit point. On the other side, it is 10, which is pretty. Nope. The middle of 10. Weird. And then that one goes to we don't know. We'll find out when we get there. Because that's one of those listed under will. Hopefully we've got this right. We'll see. For the male uniform, I can actually just connect that because there's no jump. In the female uniform, we have to jump because the curve of the breast is, of course, a uniform on top of that, covers that zone as a triangle. In the male uniform, it doesn't have to worry. We don't have to worry about that. All right. We actually do not know anything about where the pockets come in or go out. So this is the next thing we're going to do. We're going to take this entire area on this template and take a dark green. We're going to start here and just do this. Okay. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to see on the maquette where these things are coming in, going out, what number they're in. It doesn't really matter at this point, but that's all right. We're going to do the same thing over here. All right. This should give us a little bit of just a little bit of an idea of where things are popping in, popping out, going around, whatever. Should be pretty clear. So what we're going to do is we're going to save as. I'm going to go back all the way to my cats. I'm going to say here, and we're just going to say male torso. Now we can go back into here, into Daz. We can take this guy here now, and we can go into the surfaces, select the surfaces, default templates. We're going to look at not this one, because that's his head. First of all, he needs to be defaulted. Hang on real quick. Let's do some work on him real quick. Because what he desperately needs first is to be taken off of shader presets. Now I just dropped him down to matte mode so that all of these are pretty straight up. So these are all the same templates here. So we'll do this and we'll go browse. And we will, oh fine, go all the way out. Right, we're working on base mail. There we go. Right, now he's got that set for his base mail unit. So the texture mapping works. Golly, so many things I've gotten over the years, I'll get all set up straight, and then they're all kind of crappy now, and I have to go try and fix it. Let's have a quality optimization. I guess. Yes, we're good. Fine. All right, so now we can see whether the textures wrap. They wrap there, they wrap there, they wrap there, they wrap there. Good. All is good. They wrap around his body correctly. And now we need to determine where these pockets are. You can already see just by where we put them, the pockets are in the wrong spot, and even the grid is off by some. So 2 over from 8 is now the pocket. I made big pockets for the male this time, because I kind of felt like I underwhelmed them on the female. Okay, so we'll go back over here. And before I forget, because I've already forgotten this is the right leg. I already see 2 things. One, it's 2 over from the 8, so we're way off here. Because here's where the pocket is, right? So put a red line. Here's where this pocket is now. And it looks like it's all the way up here. Right, so that's a pocket right there. But this actually looks pretty straight up and correct as far as this goes. Right? So that's not bad. Right, that's correct. And in fact, it looks like it's correct on the other side too. So it looks like it's 2 down from 17. So actually, I think we did do good on that side. It's exactly what it should be. Nope. There we go. And it goes up onto here like so. And then we got to do this. There we go. And there's your pocket. And then we know we can cut. There. So that way we now know where the pocket is. And that's fine. We'll go check the other side of him. See where the other pocket lies. I'm going to collect the center. There we go. Because this one looks like the pocket is 1 over from this side. So we'll go there. So on the other side, it's 1 over from this side. It's 2 up, I think. And probably 2 up. So 2 up from here. So that's this corner right there. And 2 back from the right. Puts it right here. Yeah, where it is there is right here. Right here. And there's this one's pocket. Okay. There's a lot of incoming chatter going on here. There we go. Man, that was a lot of these things happen. Okay. Now we're going to do the arms. The arms are going to be kind of hard because we know that the limbs may not match these limbs at all. Right, so they're close, but they're not going to be exactly on target. Like I said, they don't need this anymore. Don't really need this anymore either. All right, so we're just going to do this with this. So we're going to go ahead and open, as we did before, we're going to open the female side graphs on this in the textures directory and the characters directory, because we already kind of know where things are going in here. I feel like I'm in the wrong place. Cats. That's templates. Right, so here's that, there's that. Open this. Oh, copy. Paste. I'm going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to hit multiply, and then we're going to hit in here. We're going to go to tonal correction, saturation. We're going to desaturate it. And that way, we now know what's kind of going on here, right? This guy can be like this. And already we can see a couple of things, like the hand is reversed. So we're not going to get anywhere on that. Which is all right. We already learned one very important trick. And the trick that I do is I just do one leg and one hand. And then once I do, the other legs and other hands should fit just fine. So let's go on ahead and let's talk about this upper hand. And it should just match, right? We see on Chang's side that it's coming out, the thruster piece. Well, we're actually not going to know where that thruster piece is at all, because that's dependent on the graphic on the kind of looking at this going, maybe what I should do is just go on ahead and do the checkerboard. You know what? Let's do all the rest of the stuff we need to do, because we know that we have a few things in here that happen, right? We know we're going to come in and out right here on these stripes. So the stripes are going to come in on, not here, but one down. So let's go ahead and just talk about that, right? Because when we talk about where it's coming out, well, no, even that we're not sure about. There, okay. I don't want to start this way because this seems like a rough way to do things, but let's go on ahead and do it anyway. Make my life a little bit more complicated, but we'll figure it out. All right, so we'll go on and go in here, and I'll just start filling this in. I think all of this, I seem to remember following down here, right? So all we're trying to do here is just make it so that this isn't so hard to read, because otherwise this will be really hard to read. Oop. Curse you, ADD. I've never been able to explain to my stepmom that issue with ADD, where if it's a repetitive task like this, I can guarantee that I will just have like random errors pop up, and I don't even know how to fix it, you know? I'm going along here, and I'm just going to do this to indicate that we are still on this track. And then this guy, come along here and just do the same thing. All right, and that just gives us a little bit of, something to work with here. Thing is, I think it actually goes all the way across like so. That should tell us exactly where everything is on this one. I'll just mark that this is here because that's important. Because these are actually like this guy. Right. That'll tell us a little bit about what's going on in this zone. Going across, that'll tell us where our shoulder should be, where on the shoulder we should be, that kind of stuff. So that'll help there. Now we'll head down here and do the same thing with the leg. And we'll just do a little harder because the right, and it's a little more complicated there because we get kind of weird traffic going on. So we're going to have to figure out exactly how this area ended up getting squared away. So that's what we're going to do. Boop, 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 like so. See, this is where it's like confusing. Because how does gray work on this? Nobody knows. Nobody really knows. It's okay. So, what'll happen next is we'll take this guy. Now, we only have one arm and one leg figured out. We need to take and get this green though and do up here real quick. Okay, now that we've done that, we have a grid there and a grid there, so we can now check to see where we are on things and see how far down we go. We're going to save this as, we're going to go back into the maquettes, textures, characters, and in here we're working on this. So we're going to say, we're going to have a number of these. So hopefully, moving along to template 2, and we move along to template 3. This is the various ongoing, we're still not seeing templates in the Did I put it in the wrong directory? I feel like I might have. I did. That's right. We'll get there. All right. Now we can see a few things that we've got going on here. Not the least of which is that the RC thruster units are actually far, far lower than I thought by quite a few. But with those grids on there, we can at least tell what's going on, right? So, all right. Here's what I see on this arm. The gray, in the middle of the gray is the arm connector. That's the connector to the hand. So let's go on ahead and fix that real quick. So going to my red line, new raster layer, we'll do red line here. We're going to go take my pin, go to red, so I'm going to red line it. We're going to start here. We're going to say, here's the cuff, gray. Right, so that whenever I have to align this with the rest of the hand, I can. Okay. And then we now know that blue is the inner side of this. Something with bingo. I see that's you freaking out. Okay, whatever. Blue is on either side of it. So wait, see, I got all sidetracked. Blue, all's good for blue. So this then is all blue. Okay. All blue. Okay. Looking back on here, then it goes up to the red. So this is the RC face. And then once up here, it's perfectly normal from there. Okay. So the rest of that can then go straight to stripes and stripage and how that works. Straight on though, we want to know what straight is from there. So that's that. It twists. I wish it wouldn't twist. I wish they hadn't twisted their mesh, but they did. You know, there's nothing we can do about it. Okay. Now here on the shoulder pocket goes from second row down. That's a pretty good guess, actually, on my part, huh? Well, because this is pretty good, but this is actually where the pocket starts, right there. And it goes to 1, 2, 3 in on this side. So 1, 2, 3 in is this. All right, taking a look at the bottom, it goes 2 past the bottom. So 2 past the bottom. So here is this pocket. Goes all the way to here. And it can be rough, I don't care. It's not important. Now, when we were in Blender, we mirrored it. So it should be the same on both sides. So it's 1, 2 in on this side as well. 1, 2, 3 in from this farthest point. So let's go ahead and check that farthest point. So 1, 2, 3 in the farthest point. So that's there. All right. That seems weird. Except that I pulled it out. I don't need Blender anymore. Let's save that. I'll save that and we can clear out Blender. Because we don't need Blender right now. We're not working in Blender at all. So moving on the bottom of this guy. Yeah, it does kind of look like it goes. Oh, I see how that works. Oh, I see. So it's 1, 2, 3 from the bottom of this guy. So it's 1, 2, 3 here is where it is really. Okay, that makes more sense. Because then it's this. All right. I go through here and doing that. All right. Top of the pockets to you is 2 down from the top, so 3 down total, so 2 down from the top. Perfect. That's you guys. You're right here. Top of the pockets to you. And that is the bottom of the pockets to you. Which puts it here. Oh, man, I'm just suddenly can't draw straight to save my life. There we go. All right, so I've set the pockets now, which means that probably, since this is the way I like these things, this is going to be the deltoid portion of, that's going to be the deltoid portion of our blue line, or our uniform top. So let's go ahead and take a look at where it's exiting up here. Because it's exiting at left arm 9. It's coming in on left arm 9. Comes in on left arm 9. Okay, so it's leaving on the bottom of left arm 9. That means it's going to come in on the top of left arm, or the bottom of left arm 9. Okay, that's fine. And then between it's going to be 1 down from the left. Next 7, those 2 touch. So left arm 4. Here. Yeah. Bottom of left arm 4. Yeah. Okay. So there. 2. There. And it should be here. Let's be accurate about this, or this won't line up properly. All right, so there we go. So what we're doing here is making this crease correctly work. I'm going to mark the top of this here. And then the seam is coming in on left arm 13, just at the second one down. So left arm 13 here. Which isn't the way it should end up. It ends up here. So it's going to curve. Right, that's the way it curves. All right. Looking at this, we're about, I don't know. Let's take a look here. Looks like it's right about here-ish. Right, where it exits out. There's a lot going on here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 up. 1, 2, 3 up. Exit out on this one. There's a 3 up in there. Dark one after that, so it's here. And all of that's blue. There we go. And then goes to that guy. Ish. Whoa, that's not what I do. Go to this guy right here. Alright, where do we go like that? Still have to have safety equipment on your spacesuit. So make sure you have a safety guide on your spacesuit. And that is good. There we go. I feel like none of that lines up. And I don't like it. But that's okay. We'll get there. Now, I'm kind of at this here. I feel like I've got to make a decision because like I said, the maquette twists. So I'm coming off this pocket here, and I need to kind of make it straight through to there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that does this. And then about here, I'm going to go on ahead and do this. And then we're going to call that the RC thruster pack. And hope that's correct. Okay. Now, the gloves are partial gloves, so they exit here, exit here. Right? So we want to make sure that the gloves are covered, but there we go. Now we've done one arm. However, I'm pretty confident that our arm is okay. So we're going to copy and paste it. Take this guy and put him here. We're going to rotate him 90 degrees. Well, we're going to rotate him. We're going to rotate him 90 degrees. I'm going to hold the shift key down because that gives me exact measurements of 45 and then 90. Hit OK. And I'm going to take him and we're going to flip him. So we're going to transform. We're going to flip horizontal. And if we are correct, we have lined him up exactly where he should be. No, we're not. We're not even remotely correct. Or did they adjust the map? They adjusted the map. Oh, that's even better. Thanks, guys. Be sure to hand paint everything. And be sure to just... That's close. I'm sitting here going, hey, this will be easy because they're nope, apparently not. At least the legs will be somewhat straight because they look like they're just mirrored. So it's just the hand that's a pain in the ass, but that's okay. We'll get there. All right. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer. I'm going to make that white. And this layer will make it so that we can see through a little bit here, but it's not going to be 100% obviously clear. Go up on the red line. And let's take a look at what we've got down here, okay? Now, for this guy, we know a few important things, right? So, for example, this enters in a right thigh 5. And so we can turn that off and we see space. I made these the same. So on the red line, we're going to make this right thigh 5. Undo, we're going to hit red. Then we're going to hit right thigh 5. And it's halfway through right thigh 10's the other side of that stripe. Right. So that's where that stripe comes in. That's just important to know for where that stripe is. When we look at the maquette, we go down here onto the leg. Well, flip him around. When we look at the checkerboard on the leg, you can see that I clearly did not quite grasp what I was doing here. It goes down 3 rows from here, and it's pink to blue. And that's it. That's what we got. So it's pink to blue, and it goes down to here. Perfect. Right? So we don't have to worry about anything else on this one right here. The question really is, that's the inside, so then it's 2 on either side. So it's 2 here and 2 here. And usually what I do is I end the pocket like this, and then do that, and then do that, just to make it so that it looks like it puffed out instead of having to worry about it. Okay. Dang it. Move all the way down. Here's where things get kind of rough. We're going to look at the bottom of the maquette here, and I mean, frankly, I think brown is the end of this line here, and then I start this downward slope that's down 3. So down 3 from the bottom of that line to the shin piece. So we're going to do that. We're going to do down 3. So this is the shin right here, kind of going out like that. Nope. Nope. There you go. Like that, like that. Nope. Having issues. Okay, so brown is the end of this line. So this is the end right here. That's the bottom piece. Here's the top piece. It didn't edge the way I want it to, but that's okay. So then it's 1, 2, and then that's 1, 2. 1, 2, and this is 1, 2. And that's black. And this becomes all of that huge RC thruster pack unit. Right, and that goes up and really goes wherever it goes. And we'll just put this on here to kind of get an idea of where we came in and out on this. So we went up, I guess we went up 2-ish from there. So this is 2. Put that there. Right? And it really doesn't matter at that point in time where it kind of goes upward straight. So we'll do that. We kind of know one important thing, which is this comes out towards the back of the pocket, and that's important. So like here-ish. And we'll just do this. We'll just draw a straight line down like this, and a straight line like that. Come up. And go straight like so. And straight down like so, this way. And then looking at this part of the uniform, it's not important. What is important is that stripe, the emergency stripe, is between the 2 rings. So this is the emergency stripe here. And this guy is going to be like this. Yes. And like So, for the bottom. And in theory, that's what we've got. We'll check in a minute. See whether this came out correct or not. Hello, some user. Welcome to the show. It has been a while. So some user, since you're here, I went and looked up. Well, I finally. Oh. The black duck was done by Pepper, and the white duck was done by Kayan. So they are both, because it's QuaCk, which makes sense. So what was it that's called, the Adobe product for painting on 3D objects? Anyway, turns out that Adobe wants an extra $20 a month for that particular product on top of the $50 a month that they're taking for Creative Cloud. And so I probably will not be doing that. I'll just continue doing it the way I've always been doing it, because it's yeah, there's a delay, and don't worry about interrupting. I'm just sitting here remapping, because mapping. Substance Painter, that's it. Thank you. Anyway, they want an extra money for it, and I'm not really interested in giving Adobe any more extra money than I have to, because they're greedy. Really? Okay. Well, let me go look. Because that I just installed as well. A one-time license on Steam, though, that's a different story. Let me see. I will bring it up. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I don't know. Maybe I can't in the US because it's not coming up on Steam. Right, it's not coming up on Steam at all. This is my wish list. That's why. Why don't I try that? Let me try something else. Oh yeah. Wait. Okay, it's here. Oh, look at that. It's 150, but I'd pay 150 to have one and not have to worry about it anymore. Yeah. Okay. That worked. No, I was looking at my wish list. There was no wish list. Substance Painter was not on my wish list. So search didn't work. But once I switched to store, yeah, no. See, 150 bucks. I mean, okay, that's expensive, but that would solve the problem. And I like the fact that it's through Steam. And I think it's funny that that's a one-time license through Steam, but they want a lot of money. They want a lot of money for that. Which is fine. You know what? I'm good with that. It doesn't bother me. Yeah. So this is a perpetual license. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, some user. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can tell already. Just the auto UV unwrap would save me a million hours because I build everything in Blender and then I have to manually unwrap the stupid thing, and that's driving me bonkers. So you are the awesomest, some user. Thank you so much. I was like sitting here going, well, guess I'm out. So we're on green in. So we'll go back down here to the red line and go in on green right there. This part doesn't bother me though. This part of doing this doesn't bother me. I don't know why, but it doesn't. Between these two. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't bother me. I don't know. I'm not worried about this one at all. Okay, so this is where it just kind of goes in and straight across like so. And then comes out where? Between green and the others, huh? Right here. Weird. So it goes this way and like so. Oh, yeah. I don't usually do that with my 3D. What I generally do with 3D is actually make it look less realistic. Typically, because I've got all the stuff here that I need. You know, when doing this, and then I want to make it look like it's a comic. So, you know, I wrap things. That was actually one of the complaints that Brent had of the last pass that I did of that painting I was doing of the ground being on fire and everything like that. Was he's like, it looks too realistic for the style, and I need to, you know, adjust accordingly. So I'm gonna do this, go like that. I feel like we have to kind of do some creative woodly up in here. And I apologize for all of my weird English. I realize saying woodly wop and things like that makes, for non-native speakers, can be complicated and difficult, and you start to wonder whether I'm sane. And, you know, there are times where I wonder if I too am sane. We'll have to see. So. Oh, hey, that's actually kind of cool. All of these things sound like things that I would definitely expand out from. So I can start with just Substance Painter and just go with it straight. So what we're doing here is this. I'm just setting up so they follow so that I know that I'm lining up properly. No, you're actually your spelling is perfect. I think you misspelled compliant, but I'm not gonna complain about that. So one thing you should know though is that I spent time in a different country speaking a different language. So now I am sensitive to people speaking second languages because I experienced it. I spoke Japanese for a very long time in Japan. And I love it. I love people who speak second languages. I love learning languages. I think languages are awesome. But I'm also aware that it's not always easy to understand. So I try to stay, cognizant and aware. I think this is going to be on the wrong spot. So I know you understand me just fine. That's not a problem. I keep saying funny words and I keep thinking about that and going, you probably ought not to keep saying funny words because you're just going to confuse people. Okay, so here's the knee, right? And this is the midpoint of the foot, yeah? So I can already tell that this line is not following the knee at all, right? Because it should be coming down to this midpoint right here. That should be this line right there, which means this line kind of does this, which means the RC thrusters really need to be like here. And this guy needs to move like this. Anyway, it's not a knock on your English. Your English is great. I don't want you to think that's what's going on. I'm just trying to be, cognizant and aware. Trying to be aware. I don't want to be that guy. Having been an ESL teacher, which English as a second language, I'm aware that we all speak English sort of on the commerce front. Like we all, the world kind of speaks English because that's where commerce is. But I'm also aware that there are wonderful other cultures and other places out there, and they're so great, wonderful, and have great food. I'm just saying, great food. I travel the world on my stomach. Guys, food's cool. And I'm having grumpy moments because I'm on a diet. So, but I like food. Okay. Gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Kind of eyeballed some of this, so we're gonna see whether that matches now whenever I go on the other side. I'm gonna grab everything here, copy and paste, deselect, and should flip straight. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So. Nope. That should fit just like that. Right? In theory. Right. If so, then in theory, this is the red line we need. So I'll bring this back up to about 85%. So it's not 90% so it's clearer to see the lines. And then we will save as, and we'll call this working on the limbs part or 01, because as I had said before, problem with you is this guy needs to be browse, and we're already here, so we're going to do limbs 01. We're going to see how that looks, how that trims around. Ooh. Okay, so looking at the RC thrusters on this side, I'm clearly wrong on this because everything twists. Here is correct, but when it gets down into here, it's not correct. So it's correct coming off the knee right here, but it just needs to stay straight. And that's fine. We can do that. Oh, no, that's actually fine. Sadly, I'm never going to remember. However, I also don't think it's embarrassing or anything like that to say, hey, what does that word mean? So feel free, if you need to ask me what I just said. And I will happily explain stuff to you if you need. Because like I said, I was an ESL teacher, so I'm already used to having to break things down for people if they need. And I don't see it as, anything. And like I said, I did that job. I was over there in another country for a while. It gives you a different perspective. I feel like if you've been in another country and you've lived with other people and lived in their culture and things like that, it does change your way of handling things. Okay, so there's this diamond right here, and that's the midpoint. I'll bet you that's the midpoint. So if we turn, right view, and then look really, really closely down here, I'll bet you that's the midpoint. So let's make that RC thruster I don't know. I feel like we should make it 2 to the right of the existing line. So we're going to make it 2 to the right of the existing line there. So 1, 2. So right here. I feel like its height's fine. So I'm going to do this. And go like there. But let's go ahead and just look at this, right? Because we really only want like about 2, 3. But we have to be careful because it's not going to go up to that point. Because it's flared, and the flare is making things complicated here. Luckily, we have this grid here. But what I you know what we should do? I know what we should do. Watch the Control-Shift S. We'll just take a snapshot of this and bring it over here. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but that's all right. Let's go here. So if I were to take and redline this guy, we want it to be straight like this. I want to go straight across like this. I want it to go straight down like that. That's what we want. Yeah. Which is interesting because, of course, Berg is a city in German. I love these things. Those are the things that fascinate me. Like, I know that we, of course, English, like all English things, we just steal words from your language. Because English isn't a real language. It's 3 languages in a trench coat pretending to be a language. That's really what English is. Let's be realistic here, guys. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up from this point. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to here. Where we really want that guy. And we want it to be straight up from this point. Right here, and then over 1. So we're going to kind of do this. Smorgasbord. That's a good word. Such a good word. There's like a ton of good words. I love language. So there is a language in the comic here called Tamarabeshi. And it's what the guys all speak here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the line right there. Right here. Right? That's what we really want. T-shirt, yeah, that makes sense. That's true. I think a lot of import-export occurs on language. We adapt pieces of your language, you adapt pieces of ours. I find that fascinating too. Things like in Japanese, the word for bread is pan, which isn't English. They took it from Portuguese, right? Which of course would be derivative of a different track through Roman and Latin. So from the Latin root, we went to bread, which because of the Slavic influence through German to go to bread. Whereas in Japanese, they took the word which went the other route, which was through Spanish, through French, and then over to Portuguese. And I love these like arcs that go through different languages where you see like a word has traveled between languages. That's so fascinating to me. All of that's so fascinating. Everything's so fascinating. The world is fascinating. I mean, legitimately, the world's fascinating. So I've come out here. This is me still trying to figure out the math on this, which is really because you want to be here like so. We don't actually want to come out there. Okay, so it's going to be there. We're going to be here. And then, so from this point, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. From here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. That's the RC thruster there. And that'll give us a good idea of where everything else sort of lines up, right? Because we know now this goes to there, it goes to there, it goes to there, and that goes to there. And this needs to come out of here and here, this line. And that'll help a lot on that. Okay. My wife's sending me a message. There we go, to there. There we go, like that. Yes, Famicom is family computer. That is exactly right. Super Famicom. Pasacon. Because that's what the PC is. It's a Pasacon. So personal computer. Not you. You're an impersonal computer. Me. Let's take that away. And we will. Flip horizontal. All right. There we go. Now we'll just go down here and double check that it's lined up properly. Hey, look, it looks like it's almost completely lined up correct. Okay. This side doesn't have the full stripe, so we gotta cut the stripe short on this side, which is fine. It actually just goes with this. Wait. Double check. Yeah, because there's not a full stripe on this side. It's just a box. Yeah, it's a box. Like right here. Yeah. That makes sense. Probably something. So I assume. Well, I don't assume, because like there's a lot of pronunciation differences. I would think that would happen. Like would you call it dator or would you call it dator? You know, that kind of thing. Kind of like day and night, or like dad. Huh. Now I'm curious. You can tell me in just a minute. A like day and night, or a like dad. So we'll save this one as level 2. That's why I number these, because we'll be on 2 here. I'm assuming it's a like dad, because that's usually, like, we have the weirdest. We'll just pull in 2, browse, I'll bring in 2 on it. Change. Yeah, there we go. They're lined up. That looks good. That looks good. That looks solid. That looks solid. All looks good up here. They're not pretty up here on the top, but they aren't pretty. Dator. Yeah, because Swedish, it's important to put like a longer hold on things. I could see that. I could totally see that. Yeah. I have learned a word today. I'm probably pronouncing it horribly, but I have learned a word today, and that is the important word. Ooh, when you watch Star Trek, though, is it data or is it data? That's a good question. I mean, I'm kind of making a presumption you are a geek and, you know, do the Star Trek watching thing, but still. I kind of operate on the theory that if you're watching me make a science fiction comic, you're probably more of a geek. It's probably safe to call you geeky. All right. We're going to go ahead and save this as textures too. So, and characters. Here's what we want, because we want it with the same thing. On this one, we'll call this torso. You've never seen Star Trek. Make me cry, man. It's okay. It's actually just fine. It's all good. The best part about that, though, is that likely what will occur is this will, all of the stuff that I'm doing will be great for you. You'll think it's great. It's like all new. Like I'm not aping from anything for you. Oh gosh. Okay. Looking at this, it looks like everything matches correctly. Only thing we're missing are the triangles on the hands, and then we can make a template from this, and it should run just fine. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, man. Okay, so we've set up a set now of these guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the red lines under here. And duplicate this. Put that there. So we're going to have here is a little bit. You'll be able to see just enough under here that it'll be okay. And then the red line, then there's this. Then we're going to put the actual colors in. So we're going to go ahead and switch to this. Switching to my pen. Oh, we only have like 5 minutes. Dang it. I go to 12. That's all right. If I didn't have a meeting with my main director, this wouldn't be, I'd be able to just stick around and keep going. But I unfortunately have a meeting with my director. All right, so we're going to go through here, come up here, go over. We'll zoom in. I'm going to be very careful about how we do this. Geeky is good. This comic appeals to people who are who like Star Trek. So, I mean, that's because I'm a Trekkie, and that's a thing. So that's why I make the assumption that if you are interested in this comic, you are likely a Trekkie, but that's not a given. And I should know better. This will also be, my target audience would also be people who read David Weber and the Honor Harrington series. So, but now I have a mission for you, because now I'm curious if in native Swedish, if Data, the character Data from Star Trek, is pronounced data or data, because that actually is, there's a story behind it here. In British English, we pronounce it data, but in American English, it's data. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It just, that's the way it sort of rolled out. Star Trek Cutaways and Family Guy, that makes sense. And because Patrick Stewart played Patrick Stewart's British, so he started calling him Mr. Data, and everybody else just picked up Data from Patrick Stewart. And it actually, literally, that one change from Patrick Stewart changed the way that Americans pronounce the word data. Now we say data. So it's interesting that up until 1987, in American English, you would have said data. Please give me the data off of this computer. You know, I need that data from, no, not you. I need that data, you know, by tomorrow. And because of Star Trek, they changed it to data. And now in American English, it's data. And I think that's kind of cool. So now I'm curious whether that same effect travels down, because there's a scene in an episode where one of the characters is talking to him and says, "What do you think about this, Data?" And Data turns around and says, "It's data." And she says, "What's the difference?" And he says, "One is my name and the other is not." And so there's a moment which would actually have to be in an, I want to know how that translates to other languages, you know, because that's a fascinating scene where it talks about the difference in pronunciation. And I'm curious, how do they say that in another language? I mean, do they have him pronounced as data? These things are fascinating to me. Always fascinating. Thank you very much, Some User, for a wonderful and engaging conversation today on language. I love languages and I love talking about languages. So I know some people are like, please don't identify me by my nation. It's like, no. I identify you as a geek, as one of our brethren, as one of us. You are. However, it is always fascinating when there are people from other nations, because then I'm like, ooh, in your culture, do you do X, Y, or Z? You know, and do we do this? Do we do that? How do we do things? You know, all that stuff is fun. It's fascinating. So, all right. Well, that's it for today. I must head off. I must go be workful somewhere else. So, thank you for joining me today, Some User. I really appreciate it. I hope I didn't embarrass you or anything by going on and on and on about different things and languages and stuff. But again, I'm always perpetually fascinated by this stuff. So it's great talking to you, and I will see you around. I will be here tomorrow, but I will only be here for half the show tomorrow, because I've got to go to a doctor's appointment tomorrow, which is online, which is cool because it's here online, but it doesn't matter. So there's that. Oh, look, oops, some of us are losing connectivity. This is a good time for us to lose connectivity. I will see you guys all later. Bye-bye.